what a day! What a lovely day!
Want to get through this?
Let's go!
From fire we were born, and to fire we shall return. How's it going, everyone? This is Brendon, and I am just about to go into the movie theater to go see Mad Max Fury Road and to do a conscious movie review for you guys. So this is the first official showing of it, and going into this movie, there are some conscious themes. At the surface level, this is a movie with a lot of explosions, and people know that. Yet, what is underneath the surface? That's what I'm here to figure out, and I think it has a lot to do with just empowerment regardless and transcending beyond genders. There's probably gonna be some psychological stuff in there too.
Each of us in our own way was broken. It was hard to know who was more crazy.
I have this theory that consciousness is doing whatever it can to help wake itself up, including through Hollywood movies. So, shifting consciousness and planting seeds, and we'll see what happens. This is going to be interesting. Stay tuned. I'll let you know how it goes.
My world is fire and blood.
Everything is dependent on oil.
We are killing for gasoline.
The world is almost out of water.
Water. Now there's the water wars.
Here they come again.
Want to get through this?
Everybody's gone out of their mind.
Now pick up what you can and run.
And into the wasteland we shall roam to find our better self. Just getting out of Mad Max Fury Road, and this is my conscious movie review as much as it is just me sort of like sharing what thoughts come to mind after seeing that movie and experiencing it. And off the bat, awesome movie.
We are not things! We are not things!
Where is she taking them?
So the story to this movie is Furiosa, who is played by Charlize Theron. She is trying to basically smuggle these females, these young women who are considered property of this crazy warlord guy, and within all this, Mad Max gets sort of wrapped up in all of the adventure and everything. So part of what we actually see in this movie is a very interesting revolution in consciousness, because what happens is there's the female characters and they're being oppressed by this warlord character, and again, that's just like a psychological symbol on screen for any sort of oppression. You know, how do people feel when we try to like tell them what to do, when we try to control them and stuff like that? Oftentimes, if you do that, like, they will resist eventually. And what they are resisting against is somebody else controlling their life for them, and it is them stepping into their own sovereignty.
It is by my hand! You arise! From the ashes!
That's again where it sort of like echoes culture, you know, like when we sort of lose our humanity is when we like try to like cover it up by telling it to be a certain thing. And then the humanity is just like, no, I want to be free, you know, like let me just like be the plant that comes up through the pavement. So that is what we see here. We see that here with the females in the movie specifically, who led by Charlize Theron, are making their way across the desert in order to just be able to like create a life for themselves. Looking at what rest of society, this movie came out at the right time, because we're seeing reflected in the macro of society a lot of females who are like stepping into that empowerment. In terms of like the bigger picture of the shift in consciousness, this is like the rising of the divine feminine, and here we are seeing the divine feminine as like this like badass representation by Charlize Theron, yet also like compassionate and coming from like a deep place. And that still is seen within Max, and like we see that in Max, like these same like elements of like caring for each other, compassion, that is like part of just like that divine feminine that is coming up. The hero is no longer like doing it like for the babe. but he is. But like the babe is like, his motivations are different in today's like modern context. We're sort of like seeing like the return of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, both of them like working together to serve together, with like the removal of ultimately like sexual objectification, and beyond that control, man has more free will to like serve and to be of better service to the woman, and vice versa for the woman as well. So this story is like a big like yin-yang coming together on screen. It's no longer just Mad Max, it's like Mad Max and his Yon. Like the yin and the yang are both in this movie, and it's a cool marriage of the two, the kindred union. So that is kind of like the big story, is that in terms of this being a consciousness shifting review, like this movie is actually like a microcosm spell being casted out of Hollywood, again, once again, to help bring together the kindred union. Pretty cool stuff, right? So the kindred union of the male and female energies that are within all of us. So it's really cool. It's really cool. And kudos to any of the girls out there who like cut their hair short like Charlize Theron. Like that's like, if you do that, you will discover a whole new part of yourself. So maybe every girl should cut their hair that short at some point in their life. It's an interesting idea, right? So that's just one more thing about this movie that comes to mind when I think about it after seeing it. So
You've done this before.
Many times.
So yes, underneath the surface, this movie is actually about love. Like that's literally what this movie is about. It is about choosing love over fear. It is. We see the fear in the warlord who's oppressing people and everything like that. And then we see the love in the quest for freedom that we all long for. And this movie does a good job of that. It does a good job of letting you viscerally connect with the experience of the characters. My heart is actually very open. I can feel that. Like I can feel my heart chakra. I know what that sensation is, and I can feel that open. Open your heart. So, it's not just the shared. It's having watched the movie and it's connecting with the characters on screen, which was really cool. And you see them go through struggles, and you see them like put themselves out there to be able to help each other, and they're just striving and it's that human endurance, and it's a strength of the human spirit, which is a very real thing that we see here. It's about you know, choosing to be you, like be you, and if it's in like a crazy post-apocalyptic future, then you can do that too. But if you're here right now, then do that too. And through there, you start making choices for yourself, and you get to see more about who you are as a better self, which again is something that is actually directly referred to in the movie. There was a lot of love that went into this movie, and I think that's kind of evident. And I think the people who are working in the movie, obviously having been aware of what the story was and the plot, could put themselves into that. And as a production and a movie, like this really came together well. It's right up there with like Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I'll say that. Like this movie was awesome. So, and they're potentially going to do more. So that's the exciting things. And so a huge like thumbs up, a handshake and a hug to George Miller. Personally, I would give it to him for making this movie, for having the vision to actually like bring this to fruition. It seems that he had a shift in consciousness himself. Like, do we want to remember Mad Max as like sort of just not to say it was overly chauvinistic back in the day, but you know, it's just kind of the stereotype of the time, I guess, right? It was more iconic to the time.
You want to get out of here? You talk to me.
Whereas today's modern time, this is more iconic. It's less to do about Mad Max being like the big, like crazy, like superhero type character, but it's about like the king and the queen standing together, princes and princesses. So this movie was sort of like a psychological mirror for ourselves to see ourselves in as a society and sort of thinking which way we're going. And it also sort of paints this picture that, you know, like if we want to move forward, it's all about collaboration and cooperation. And we as humans are, we have our incredible moments. We have our incredible moments, and there's the goodness in all of us, and that can be like brought out to the surface in those moments where sometimes it's under like that extreme pressure that we expand, you know, like the pine cone. Thank you, George Miller, for making this movie. I think a lot of people will see it. You disguised, that's what George Miller did. George Miller disguised a consciousness shifting story as like a crazy explosive blockbuster hit. Go see Mad Max Fury Road and share it with your friends, and share this video with your friends, and thanks for checking this out. Awesome, one love, and what better self will you discover within yourself? on this Fury Road that we all walk.
I want them back! They're my property!
Out here, everything hurts. You want to get through this? Do as I say. Now pick up what you can and run. What's your name?
So thank you so much for checking this out. Of course, if you're familiar with my videos, you know that I am more than just conscious movie reviews. I'm about this whole shift in consciousness in general, so if this movie has reached its way to you, then please feel free to use that as a portal to check out my other stuff. And if you dig it, then please feel free to connect with me, get involved. This is about building community, opening our hearts, going out there, changing the world, and these movies are a part of that are inspiring us along our path. So it's a fury road out there, and if we work together, we will get to where we need to be. So thanks again.